Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer video. And today, we're going to be talking about 10 green-white budget decks for the Pioneer format. So, oh man, I'm losing count. I believe this is episode 7 of the Intro to Pioneer series, where I talk about budget decks of all different color combinations. We did all the monocolor ones, and we just did Gruul in the last episode, and now we are doing Selesnya, which is also green-white. So before I hop into the video, I love to mention that who this is really for. Honestly, it's realistically for everybody, but it's really for people that are maybe looking to expand their collection of decks, you know, whether or not you're looking to get into Pioneer, or you're looking for good kitchen table decks, maybe inspiration to maybe build a green-white deck in the Pioneer format, or maybe another format. This is who this video is truly for. But let's go ahead and look at what the parameters are for all these decks today. So the most important thing is they need to be Selesnya. We need to be able to cast all of our cards with a green-white dual land. Less than $50, that's really important. After all, it's a budget deck. We want them to be cheap. Flavorful theme, obviously, you know, whether or not it's like a creature type theme or a 1/1 counter theme, which will make sense in a moment. I wanted all the decks to have a theme to them. And then at the end of the day, it needs to be easy for new players because, again, a lot of the people that maybe are watching this video are looking to get into the Pioneer format, or maybe they're a new Magic player in general and they're just kind of looking to see what other decks are out there. This is who this is truly for. Not to say that experienced players won't have fun with these decks, it's just that we're not playing any cards that have like word soup on them generally. So let's go ahead and hop into it here. So when it comes to green-white decks, my personal favorite deck in green-white is this, Willie Aggro. So, the best card in this deck is Willie Liege. It gives our green creatures +1/+1 and our white creatures +1/+1. Most importantly, if our cards are green and white, they get +2/+2, which is awesome. So we're playing a bunch of really good cards like Fleece Mainline, Tristani Three Whispers, Burrowguard Mentor, Kutzel Malamet Exemplar, a whole bunch of really good green and white cards that are going to give us a huge advantage against other creature decks. That's what this deck is, Willie Aggro. You play your creatures and you turn them sideways. So the next deck I have to talk about is probably the most common green-white deck for the most part that's in the metagame, and that is green-white Hexroof. Essentially what you're doing with this deck is you're trying to put down a cheap creature that has evasive abilities like Gladecover Scout, Armored Armadillo, and then we're trying to put a whole bunch of cheap enchantments on it to win the game. We can also play a card like Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice, which is just pretty much nutty, wins the game by itself. Basically, whenever you play an aura, if you cast it, you search for an aura with lesser mana cost and attach it to Lightpaws, which is just kind of insane. But yeah, green-white Hexproof, definitely one of the more common green-white decks in the metagame. But if you're a big fan of enchantments, but maybe you're not a big fan of just going all in on one creature, you might like this deck. Enchantment scales. So it still plays a lot of the really good enchantments, but you're also playing a card like Optimistic Scavenger and Generous Visitor, which say, hey, guess what? Every time we play an enchantment, this creature gets a +1/+1 counter, which is really, really sweet. We're also playing Hardened Scales in this, so if one or more 1/1 counters will be placed on a creature control, that many +1/+1 counters are placed on it instead, which is just really cool in general. I've always loved Hardened Scales decks. I've always thought they were really fun. But you want to know what? Maybe you're not a big fan of the enchantment theme and you want to just go honest to good raw power scales. Then just go ahead and play regular green-white scales. You get some awesome cards like Conclave Mentor and Botanical Brawler. You're also playing a package of Experiment 1 and Pelt Collector to really help get those +1/+1 counters going. Overall, green-white scales, really fun deck. I think a very underrated deck in the overall metagame as well. So this next deck I have to talk about, it has to do with counters, but a different kind of counters. That is poison counters with toxic. So what we're trying to do with this is play a few cheap creatures that have toxic, like Venerated Rot Priest, Jawbone Duelist, and Slaughter Singer, and play a whole bunch of protection and pump spells to end the game. Obviously, you know, Jawbone Duelist has double strike. We want to pump this card up. Venerated Rot Priest says whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, an opponent gets a poison counter. So we're playing cards like Defend the Rider, Royal Treatment, and Overprotect to get in all that poison damage. That's what we're trying to do with green-white toxic. So the next thing I have to talk about is our last non-creature type deck. So I wanted to put in a control deck on here, which I know green-white, it seems a little bit weird with control, but I made this deck a while ago, and I really wanted to share it today. It's Enchantment Control. So it's basically just a white control deck. It does play a decent amount of green cards, though. Actually, really not a crazy amount of green cards, but it plays some. My favorite card in the deck, though, is Calyx Destiny's Hand. It helps us search for enchantments, and it also kind of like is an Oblivion Ring effect, which is pretty sweet. And then obviously the -7 is pretty fantastic. But yeah, we're trying to play cards like Seal from Existence and Sphere of Safety. Just play a whole bunch of enchantments, control the Bard, and win the game. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to win anytime soon. It's really just kind of a slow death with cards like, oh, what's the Sigil of the Empty Throne, as well as some of our lands. So overall, enchantment control, very, very fun to play. But let's go and talk about the green-white creature decks. My personal favorite one in the Pioneer format is Rabbits. Most of this deck just came from Bloomburrow, and you want to know what? That's good enough. The Rabbits are just absolutely insane. They go crazy. We have a card like Valley Mightcaller, which is a champion of the parish, but better because it has trample, which is pretty good. Then you have some insane cards that have to be answered, or they're going to take over the game, like Phineas Ace Archer, Burrowguard Mentor, as well as cards like Valley Quest Caller, which is a very good lord for this deck. Yeah, green-white Rabbits. I would honestly say, if you're interested in playing Standard, pick this deck up, because that way you can convert it into Standard in Pioneer very, very easily. The next one is probably one that everyone expected to be on here. It's Humans. We do get some really good green humans in this deck. Obviously, cards like Experiment 1 is fantastic. Malaria the Living Cure is also a really, really great card. My favorite splashy thing to put in this deck is Heron's Grace Champion. I've always really liked this card. It's a very simple design, but it's very good, and it can lead to a huge blowout against our opponent. I've always really liked this card. Obviously, it's a budget substitute for Collected Company, and I figured, you want to know, why not? It's 4 mana, it's splashy, it's going to help us win the game. Why not go ahead and play 4 Heron's Grace Champion? But yeah, green-white humans, definitely very, very splashy. So the next one we have to talk about is Cats. I've always loved Cats. A lot of this deck came from Magic Foundations. There was a lot of really good Cats, obviously Savannah Lions, Sky Knight Squire, and Arabo all being featured in Magic Foundations. But we also have some really good other cards like Collected Company, Cutsil, Malamet Explorer. We obviously get to play Kikira the Orphan Guard. We get Feline Sovereign as another lord. Yeah, green-white Cats, beat them down, cast Collected Company, turn them sideways, win the game. That's what we're trying to do with Cats. And our last deck that we have to talk about today is Angels. So this one was really, really tricky to make. So obviously Green-White Angels is a very good deck in the metagame, but unfortunately it's a very expensive deck in the metagame overall. So I tried to decide what the best cards were to put in this deck to be able to get it under that $50 threshold. Ultimately, I had to choose between Bishop of Wings, Righteous Valkyrie, or Resplendent Angel, and I decided to go with Righteous Valkyrie because I think it really just is the best card of the three. But, even if we're not gaining a ton of life, which we are gaining life in this deck, we also have cards like Youthful Valkyrie, which get very, very big very, very quickly, as well as Giada Font of Hope makes our other angels even bigger when they come into play. So I figured it was still worth it playing the Angel Shell. And playing an Angel deck, even though we don't have all the different cards to be able to play, it's still very good. So if you're looking to play Angels on a budget, I think that this is your best bet. But definitely let me know in the comment section below which of these decks was your favorite. Maybe let me know if you've built one of these decks before and maybe you're just looking to compare or whatever. Just let me know what you think about the list in the comment section. And that takes us to the end of the video here. Thanks so much for watching. The deck lists are in the description below if you'd like to check them out for yourself. Huge shout out to our channel members, Ralph, Matt, Arcadius, Ray, Gary, Cyril Loki, Michael D, our premium channel member, The Common Cold, Jeremy P, and BG Stilts. If you're interested in being a channel member, it starts at $1 a month, and you gain access to the exclusive Commander Crane Discord, as well as other features here on the channel. So, I'm Commander Crane, thanks for watching this video, and hope to catch you in the next one.